Hello, welcome to the 2018 Ohio Air Algebra test release questions. These are release questions from the state from last year's test. So question number 5 here deals with a histogram. Histogram has to do with numbers here. So right here it says 60 to 65 cans were donated, and the 22 students did that. And then in this range here, 60 or 25 students did that. And there's freshman class versus sophomore class. So it says which statement is true, and I'm leaning towards A here, which is the correct answer. The freshman class has a lesser mean. Mean is the average. So it's a lesser average than the number of cans donated by the sophomore class. So you can see the sophomores have more cans towards this direction, the freshmen have more cans towards that direction, which means this statement is definitely true. Median means middle number, and that's the one they talk about here is the median and the mean. Next one, number 7 is the next question, and we have to come up with a formula for this. You can see that it's multiplying by 3 each time. No, it's not multiplying by 3 each time. It starts off with 3, it's multiplying by 2 each time. So it has to do with multiplying by 2. So it's not this one, and it's not this one. It's one of these two. So we need to make sure that it works out right. And they tell you f of 1. So x is 1, or n. So n is equal to 1, and out comes 3. So if I put 1 right here, it'd be 2 to the first power. So it'd be 3 times 2 to the first power, which is equal to 6, and that's not the first term, that's the second term. But if I put 1 right here, then it's going to be 3 times 2 to the 1 minus 1. Well, 1 minus 1 is 0, so then it would be 3 times 2 to the 0 power, and that would be 3, anything to the 0 power is 1 except for 0. 0 to the 0 power is undefined, and then we'd get 3. So this is actually giving me the first term. It'll give me all the other terms because I keep doubling, not tripling. I said tripling because of the thing there in front, but the answer is B. All right, next question is a system of equations, and has to do with the number of children attending a play. They gave you the system of equations, and we just have to solve it, so you can read through this on your own. But basically we just take this and substitute it in for C. So we have A plus 21A is equal to 330, and then I have 22A, because there's an invisible 1 right there, is equal to 330. Then I just have to divide 22 into 333, so I got my trusty Steed calculator here. So 330 divided by 22 is equal to 15. So it's 15 adult tickets. So I divided by 22, and A is equal to 15. But you got to be careful when you're doing these problems, is you have to read the last sentence over and over again every time you do a story problem, because you have to make sure that you have the correct answer. A is 15 is technically not correct because it says how many children attended the play. This is adults, it's the number of adults. So you got to put the A back in here. So C is equal to 21 times A, and so we multiply 21 times 15, and I get 315. So it's 315 is the correct answer. There's 315 children at the play. All right, next question is number 15. This one here, basically you need to recognize this as an upside down parabola. It's a quadratic because x times x is x squared. So what they're asked, so it's one of these situations where you have profit, and we know that this crosses at 0 at 22 and 53. So it comes up and it goes back down again, and it crosses at 22 and it crosses at 53. So this is price across here, and then it's dollars over here. Or no, not that's profit, but it's also in dollars. Okay, so we got price, which is in dollars, and profit, which is in dollars. So technically each axis is in dollars. So if you charge $22, your profit is 0, but you're not going to lose any money. So that's the answer to A, 22. And if you charge $53, your answer is would be the highest, that you could not lose money, because if you charge more, you're going to lose money down here, because that would be the negative. profit. So 53 is the other one. And then halfway between the two would be the maximum. And so we know that it lies halfway between these two numbers because the parabolas are symmetrical. So all I have to do really is just average 22 plus 53 and then divide it by 2. So 22 plus 53 is equal to 75 and then divided by 2. So there's 75, right, divided by 2 is $37.50. All right, so that's the fast way to do this problem. Is we know that it's an upside down parabola because if I started foiling this out and I multiplied x times the negative x, I get negative x squared. That makes it an upside down parabola if you foiled all this out. Your calculator doesn't really care. I'm going to pause it and then show you the picture on the calculator real quick. But I'm going to type it in first without typing it in this way. So pause for a second. All right, I have this typed in now, so I'm going to hit graph, and I'm not going to see anything because I have it on a regular zoom. So I'm going to go to my window key, and I'm going to go 0 to 60 with a scale of 5, and I'm going to have down 10 and up 50 scale of 5. So you can see, well, I didn't even have enough. It's got to be way higher than 50, but you can see that you go over 5, 10, 15, 20. There's 22 is where it crosses. And then up here 50, 55, so it crosses at 53. And you can tell that by if I hit the trace button and I type in 22. I said 2. 22. There we go. So there's the place where it crosses. That's the root of the function. And then 53 crosses there. Now I need to go a lot higher. 37.5 is all the way up to, so I need to go high as 250. So go back to the window here and change my maximum to 250. So I can insert 250, scale of 25, and graph. Okay, so you can see it crosses at 22, it goes up. So this is price you're charging, profit on this axis. And now if I go to 37, I'm in the trace mode, type in 37.5, and there it is at 4. There's the maximum profit right there. So dollars this way, dollars in profit this way. The least you could charge, the most you could charge to not lose any, but you're going to get your maximum profit at 37. So it is an upside down parabola because you can check it with the FOIL here. The x times the negative x makes it negative x squared plus blah blah blah, and so we know that it's an upside down parabola. All right, number 17. Sorry, it's a little crooked, isn't it? Okay. Is this a good model? And the model they want us to do is x plus 44. But if you put in 7 into this model, you only get 57. If you put 6 in here, you get 50. So this isn't a very good fit. So the answer is C. The equation is not a good fit because the residual plot with the pattern from this data set indicates a bad fit. So it's not a good fit. It doesn't match the data. Okay, the next one. This one here, there's supposed to be 3 parts to it, but there's only 2 parts on the paper. So part C, you're supposed to actually solve it. All right, so we're supposed to find the mistake. I mean, the mistake comes in this line right here. There should be a negative 18, because what they're doing is they're clearing the fraction. They're multiplying both sides of the equation by 2. Okay, then we're supposed to show the correct equation here, and that's what you're supposed to type in here. So that's the part that's wrong. Now, if I multiply this by 2, I get x plus 18. If I multiply this by 2, I get 8, and then 2x minus 6. And then if I multiply this part back here by 2, 18x. So there's technically 3 terms to this. There's the first term, there's a term, and then that's a term. Terms are separated by like equal signs and pluses and minuses. So that's the correct thing now, because they forgot to multiply all the parts by 2. So there's 1 part, 2 parts, 3 parts. So that's the correct answer. Now for part C, we're actually supposed to solve this. So you have to, you need some scratch paper when you do this air test. You've got to write some stuff down. It's too hard to do everything on the computer. So we get x plus 18 is equal to 16x minus 48 minus 18x. So I distributed here. Now I'm going to collect my like terms. We get x plus 18 is equal to this and this go together to make negative 2x minus 48. Okay, I'm going to add over the 2x to make it 3x plus 18 is equal to negative 48. The negative sign changes, stays there. And then I'm going to subtract over 18. So I get 3x is equal to negative 66. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 3. I get x is equal to negative 22. So that's supposed to be the correct answer instead of 11. So you had to find the mistake, write the mistake in there, or fix the mistake in there, and then go ahead and solve it from there. And then from that point on, you can solve it any way you want to. You don't have to like use their tricks or whatever. You can, just as long as you're doing the same thing to each side of the equation. Okay, so now this is a histogram, like question number 1 was the histogram, or not 1, but question 5, how all of these things, there's this many kids between these number of cans. So we're going to do the same thing with this. All right, so we're doing planted trees and the heights. So our lowest are in the 3s. So we have 1, 2, and 3. And there's one more somewhere. Where is it? Right there. So there's 4 of them in the 3 range. So I'll make a bar here. Okay. Now we go in the 4 range. There's 3 of those. 1, 2, 3. So there's 3 of those in the 4 range. And I've already done this problem. I'm kind of cheating off my answer key off to the side here. Now we go to the 5 range, and there's 3 of those 5s. Okay, so there's 3 of them in, no, there's 4 of them. 4 of them in the 5 range. There's the other one. Okay, now we're back to 3 of them in the 6 range. 1, 2, 3. And there's 1 in the 7 range. So there's your histogram. And you probably have to click and put it on there and all kind of stuff. So there's your, basically, the histogram is a bar graph, but it has to have order to it. That's the difference. All right, number 22 is the domain of the function. The domain are the x values. So what are the x values of this function? Well, it's from here over is where this function lives. So it lives from -4 over. And that would be choice A. So it's from -4 over. So x is greater than or equal to -4, and inclusive because there's a dot there. All right, number 23. It says, what does y represent? This is the equation right here, and hopefully you've read through this. So you have the paper in front of you or something. But basically, it's $8 is what it costs for a y. Or it says it's more expensive for the y. The y is the roped, or the beaded. Sorry, the y is the beaded, and that's the number of beaded being sold because it says it costs more. So then x would be the rope ones, and the beaded ones are more. So it's the number of beaded bands being sold as y. And it just talks about how it costs more for those. She charges more for the beaded, so that has to be that one versus that one. All right, so in the next one, it says, what's the maximum value here? Well, we already did a maximum value. Well, kind of we did a maximum value problem. On the one, click the second problem here. Third problem that we did, let's find it. No, not that one. This one right here. This one was about charging a price and a profit, and you're trying to look for that maximum there, but we found the x value instead of the y value. Now we want the y value. And it doesn't say what x value causes the maximum. It says what is the maximum. Well, the maximum is over 1, up 1, 2, 3. So it's the y value is 3 here. And so that's what it is, y equals 3. Okay, next question. All right, so this is a system called a system of inequalities. There's a horizontal dashed line, so that would be y. Horizontal is y, vertical is x equals. And it's below that, so it's less than 1, 2, 3, so it's less than negative 3. So there's your first equation. Then the second equation, it's greater than, so y is greater than or equal to, and you got to click on these things down here to put it in here on the computer screen. So it's greater than, now we need the slope. Up 2 over 3, up 2 over 3. So the slope is 2/3 x, and then plus, the intersects at negative 5. So plus negative 5, actually let's not do plus negative 5, let's just do minus 5. And there it is. We are less than the straight line, greater than the other line. All right, this one here, several people missed this, and you shouldn't miss it. You have a calculator, so you're just, all this means is that's your x, right? F of negative 2 means you're putting this negative 2 into this function, so it's 2 to the negative 2 power plus 3. And then you got to get this answer. So on the calculator, it looks like this off the home screen. You're going to do 2 to the power of negative 2. Now push yourself out, and then plus 3. And it is 3.25. Easy enough. And you just click that in to the box. You don't need this part. I'm just showing you that's what it is. Okay, 33. 33, you're supposed to write an equation for this. And basically, we have two factory assembly lines, and we're supposed to write an equation that can be used to find the number of hours t that the assembly lines are functioning on Tuesday. So we have 300 t plus 900. So that's the 900 plus the 300 t, right, is equal to, so that's the first day, and then you got the next day is equal to 480 t. So the important thing here is this line in made as many toys on Tuesday as line in did over both days. So M, this is line M right here, and there's in. So line in made as many toys on Tuesday as line M did over both days. So 400t is that's what they make, right? Then these people make 300p, but they made 900 the first day. So if you add M's Monday and Tuesday totals together, it would equal that. So there's your equation. All right. Feet is a distance. Feet is a distance. Square feet is an area. So we got distance is feet, area, and then cubic feet is volume. All right. Per minute, so it's a rate, but it's distance, area, and volume. Okay, so we're walking to school. That would be a distance we're traveling, so that makes sense for this one. Painting a wall, that would be area covering, so it makes sense that it's this one. Filling a bucket would be volume, so it's that one. And rate of mopping a kitchen floor, that's area. So if you're mopping the floor or painting a wall, you're covering area. Okay, 37. Okay, so the important thing here is there are 4 more students with brown hair and blue eyes. So I got to find brown hair and blue eyes. Brown hair, blue eyes. Okay, that's this one. Okay, and then we got to find blonde hair and blue eyes. Blonde hair, blue eyes, that's this one. and it says there's 4 more of this than this, so I need to add 4 to this. So 0.125x, it's all proportional, is equal to 0.075x plus 4, because there's 4 more of these, of this fraction of the whole, so we need to add 4 to this percentage of the whole, and x is like how many people are in this whole survey. So x is the number of people surveyed. All right. So we have basically 12.5% are in this thing, and 7.5% are in this category, and but there's 4 more in this one versus this one. So I had to add 4 to this to make it catch up to that. Okay, now we just solve. So we're going to subtract over 0.075. Subtract over 0.075. And that gives me 0.05x is equal to 4. So now I divide over this. So I'm going to divide by 40 into that. So 40 divided by 0.05, and I get 80. All right, so there's 80 people in this whole survey. Now we want to know the number of people that have black hair. So again, you got to read the last sentence over and over again. So now that we know there's 80 people in the survey, how many people have black hair? So black hair would be black hair, it's right here. So 25% have black hair. So I need 25% of 80 is the answer. Well, that's a quarter of 80. So 80 divided by 4 is 20. So there's 20 people that have black hair, because there's 80 in the entire survey. All right, the next question is number 38. It's a system of equations question. So basically, if this is equal to y and this is equal to y, these are equal to each other. So we say x squared minus 9, that's the first equation, is equal to the second equation, negative 2x minus 1. So this is equal to this. So we got this is equal to this. A line is equal to a parabola. Now there's 2 solutions to this, but we only have to come up with 1. This is a quadratic, so I've set my quadratic equal to 0 by moving this stuff over. So I get x squared plus 2x minus 8 is equal to 0. And this factor is really super easy. Plus 4 and minus 2. And 0 product property, so we set each factor equal to 0. And we solve the little baby equations. So we have those are 2 answers. Now, those are the x values. We need the y values. So I have to put the x back in. So if I put x as 2 back in here, it would be negative 4 minus 1 is negative 5. So there's one pair. Or there's another solution. This, if I put negative 4 back in here, that would be positive 8 minus 1 would be 7. So negative 4 comma 7. Also, if you put negative 4 there, that'd be 16. 16 minus 9 is equal to 7. If you put 2 here, it'd be 4 minus 9 is negative 5. So you can put 2 negative 5 in here, or you can put in negative 4 or 7. You put either one in there because you just have to find one solution. Now let's see what this looks like graphed out. I'll pause it while I type it in. All right, I went ahead and typed it in to the equation editor, and I hit graph, and there it is. There's the parabola, there's the line. There's 2 solutions where it crosses and intersects here. That'd be the negative 4, 7, and then where it crosses there would be 2, negative 5. So how do you do that? Well, if you hit second calculate, you could go down to intersect, which is number 5, and then you just say, hey, is this the first curve? Yes. Is that the second curve? Yes. And then you guess, and it says 2, negative 5. Now, if you want the other solution, you have to do second calculate again. And let me focus in on that a little better. Hey, that's a little better. and then intersect again. Then we go over to the other place where it intersects. Enter. Second curve, yes. Guess, yes. -4, 7 is the other place where it intersects. All right, moving along. Refocus back down here. Okay. Next question. We're rearranging 4 pi r squared. We're solving for r. So we have area is equal to 4 pi r squared. We're going to divide by 4 pi to each side of the equation to get that r by itself. And from here, you can tell that the answer is going to be b, because the next step would be to do the opposite of squaring, which is to take the square root of each side. So the answer is b. Okay, number 42. This is just like the other question we did. We have parabola is equal to a line. So you could graph the parabola and then graph the line and see where they intersect, because you want to know when does this parabola equal this line, and that's the points of intersection. You can do it the old-fashioned way. Here, I'm going to write it up here. Well, no, I'll write it at the bottom. And again, you're going to key your answers for x in here. You're just finding x, you're not finding the y this time. So 16x squared plus 10x minus 27 is equal to negative x, 6x plus 5. All right, we're going to move everything to the same side. So subtract over 6x. No, we're adding over 6x, my bad. Subtract over 5. We get x squared plus 16x squared plus 16x minus 32 is equal to 0. And this does factor, but it's a lot easier if you get rid of this common factor of 16 first. So you get x squared plus x minus 2 is equal to 0. And then we got x and x. We got positive 2 and minus 1. Because that's how it multiplies out for foiling. And we set each factor equal to 0. And we get x is negative 2, and x is equal to 1. So negative 2 and 1 are the two solutions. Negative 2 and 1. All right, last question, I think. Yes, last question. The last question is you're writing the equation of a line. Basically, he's adding 15 a week, and then there's your starting point. So there's your slope, and there's your b, your y-intercept. So it's 15x plus 120, and that's it. Because he starts off with 120 bucks, and then 1 week goes by, 15 more dollars. 2 weeks go by, so x is 2, $30 more. 3 weeks would be $45 more. 5 weeks would be $75 more. You just keep adding $15 each week to the 120. All right, hopefully this has been helpful. Those are all the Ohio release questions from last year. And study hard, do well.